good. But
But you don't think that the Prime Minister should be handing out monies like that?
but monies is being handed out left, right, and center, to whosoever will may come. I mean, I've not been able to get something from it. They must think of me, man. No, if they have money giving out,
give it to everybody.
Yes, I'll be more than happy to collect my share. I have no qualms in collecting my share. I'm sure a few people will tell me I should not say that, but that is okay. If you give out, I mean, all shall eat.
Give it to everybody. All right, okay.
Yes. Put that on in your diary.
But does it look possible, Kala?
Well, I don't know. All I'm saying to you is that the state continues to oppose, but the matter will be held on Friday. So put that on your diary. Anything is possible. I don't know what are the conditions and what they are really saying. All I can tell you is that they are coming up for bail, because remember, the High Court Judge, Justice Errol Thomas, had denied them bail, and they are going before this Madam Justice Charles Clark for bail. So it's coming up on Friday. The state, I can tell you for a fact, is opposing it. So let's wait and see what will happen when the matter is dealt with on Friday of this week.
Carlton Baptist, thank you very much. Let's go back to this interview there on, I was trying to get I think it was on the 5th of December last year, when the engineers gave us the assurance that the Bailey Bridge in Macushri would be safe for vehicular traffic. Now, questions as to why. Why did it collapse? Let's listen to the engineer at Public Works.
As a result of the trough system passing over Dominica last week, the Macushri Bridge, we know, suffered some damage as a result of flooding. On the 1st of December, the Minister of Public Works and Ports, Minister Blanchard, and myself, we led a delegation to do some preliminary assessments of the structure.
What was experienced here was a flooding of the entire area here, which in itself caused damage not only in the vicinity of the Bailey Bridge, but even close to where we're standing right now, where we had erosion of the road edge.
We know that the motorists are a little bit concerned as they pass along the bridge. It can be very disconcerting to pass on a structure on a bridge and you observe settlement. But the bridge is supported on concrete slabs, and if you were to take a closer look to both ends of the slab, of the bridge, both north and south, you will see all of the slabs are tied using heavy steel cables and at either end, to prevent the washing away of the structure.
With the rush of water in the bridge structure, there was some movement of the subgrade or the ground underneath the supports to the bridge, and what that resulted in is a bit of undermining, and therefore a slight difference in settlement from one side to the other side. So what you see is on the northeastern corner of the structure, there was a drop of approximately 5 inches. The southwestern corner did not move as much as the northeastern corner, and therefore you have this sort of slight twist.
So yes, the bridge has been damaged by the flood. We can repair it rather easily.
Firstly, to make the adjustments on the northeastern abutment of the bridge so as to restore the bridge to the level of the approach pavement and get rid of that hump that we're experiencing presently. The second course of action that we intend to take is to underpin the support structure of the bridge so as to minimize the risk of undermining in the future. And thirdly, we intend to look at the river channel to identify the areas in which it went off its normal course so as to as best as possible reduce the chances of flooding to the area that we are in right now, and keep the water at its double course.
Those measures will reinstate the bridge to full capacity, and we hope to start urgent works as soon as possible. You should cross with due care and attention, but the bridge will not fail catastrophically and leave you, in damage.
Did you hear that? That was December 5th, 2016. Now, just for a minute there, if somebody, God forsake, was passing at that time, remember you gave the assurance that it's safe. And now, collapse. 822, talk to me.
Good morning, Matt.
Morning.
I am no engineer. I went to the Lapin Primary School. I know nothing about concrete and engineering. But you cannot tell. I took my time. I went on the riverside where the bridge is. And I look at how the end of the bridge is resting. I can't understand. And no wonder the present Minister of Communication Work says Dominica has no engineers to build bridges. And I applaud her for that, hearing the comments of the guys who sit in the Public Works high office. You cannot tell me that you're taking old concrete slabs, place one on top of the other, with no mortar or concrete sticking the two slabs together, placing them at a certain height, and then allowing vehicles that are always vibrating to pass on that 24 hours a day. You came there with a slight tilt. You then come and say it can be rectified very easily, tied with steel cables. Come on now, man. We are in a modern age. We have high degree technology. All kinds of things we never had in the days of 1960s, we have that now. Wasting money. I believe it is time now that the Dominican public must file suit against the Public Works Department for wasting Dominican money. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's 824. It was your word assured the people of Dominica that the bridge was safe. Now, the results you saw on the weekend. 825, hello.
Hey, Matt, morning.
To you, sir.
Matt, the results we saw on the weekend with that bridge is not surprising to me, because during the time the trough was passing and the bridge shifted, and we heard that statement from these guys, I actually called you and said that the bridge is not safe where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because the original bridge before Erica was higher and the river took it.
Right.
Putting a bridge lower in a flooded area, a flood-prone area, and telling me it is a safe bridge. You cannot build the bridge upon that sandy ground. It's a sandy area. The height of that area now is built up just because of sand, If you realize the playing field, the grounds are high on the playing field because the amount of sand that was deposited there from the storm.
Mm-hmm.
So how could you build a bridge on a sandy ground, sandy bank? The foolish man built his house upon the sand. We know that from the Bible. How are you coming to build a bridge on sand, on river sand, and telling me that it is safe? It was never safe because the first bridge was higher than it and the river took it. You're putting a bridge lower in the flood-prone area and telling me it is safe. It is not safe. And we need to have these guys answering questions because this is a problem that we have. Since Erica, we saw these Bailey bridges installed. They were supposed to be temporary bridges. Right now, they are permanent bridges. We're not hearing anything. But in the meantime, while Dominica is asking for money, you're hearing money buying apartments all over the place, all these things going on. People sitting there and not asking questions, and not asking the questions to the rights of the people. Bro, we need to find out from Roosevelt Skerrit what is happening. Roosevelt Skerrit has to answer questions. We cannot sit there and say Roosevelt Skerrit not answering questions, he's not making himself available. This nonsense has to stop, because he's on island. When he's there, he has to answer questions. He goes to these people that would give him the dolly house questions and pamper him and talk to him, and he would shy away from answering from any question that coming up. These people will bring up the hard questions to him.
But these are our professionals, and we should be trusting their word. Now, when things like that happen, you have to wonder what is really going on. Should we take their word for it?
But we're seeing for ourselves that these guys have compromised themselves. They are not. They might be professionals, but they do what they are told to do by the powers that be. So their professionalism is compromised right there. Because common sense tells me, if the original bridge was on higher grounds and the river took it, what sense would it make to put a bridge lower than the original one that was high and the river took it? Man, that is nonsense. Unacceptable. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Let's move on at 8:28. We're just asking a few questions this morning. Something disastrous could have happened on the weekend. Hello. Yes,
I find it very strange that when it comes for building bridges in Dominica, when it comes for building the infrastructure of the country, Chinese are the one in the forefront doing it. And when those very same bridges are damaged, our engineers in Dominica are in the forefront this time to defend and to say it is okay. I mean, that crap has to stop. We have good engineers here, Matt, and they must not allow Dr. Lai to take them for a ride. You are qualified in that field, and you're supposed to be advising in that field. And if you're advising in that field and they are not listening, it means that you should leave and go.
Well, but the question is, though, Kopel, I mean, the professionals are the ones speaking, not the Prime Minister on this one. So I don't know why you sort of are mixing the two, mixing apples and oranges.
I'm not mixing apples with oranges. I know what I am talking about, man.
But if you know what you're talking about, say what you're talking about. Because the words, the people speaking there are two of the senior engineers at the Public Works Department. So if you know something, please let us know. 829. Hello.
Good morning to you and the listening. Max, let me tell you something. While our engineers are being blamed, and at the time Roosevelt Skerrit said that we haven't got qualified engineers in Dominica, this is a big lie. They are not listening to what the engineers are saying. They are doing what they want. And even when Gala Khan was doing the road, the instructions that were given to them by the engineers, they denied it and said that they do not have that kind of money to do that work. So just cut and fit and do it. And that work of the road, for instance, with Gala Khan, wasn't done by engineers. It's what the government of Dominica commissioned them to do. And yet he turned around and he blamed the engineers. So, definitely he is the one that is at fault. They cut in costs to pocket more money, and then they blame the engineers.
All right. So that's your understanding of it. Matt, I understand now why Skerrit, somebody's saying, is contracting major construction projects to foreigners and not Dominicans. That's somebody's. 8:30. Hello, talk to me.
Good morning, Matt.
How are you, sir?
Not bad at all. Matt, the concern I have with these Bailey bridges, we shouldn't have, almost 2 years later, we shouldn't have to be dealing with those Bailey bridges. Look at the amount of money that's being tossed around all over the place. 45 million for geothermal, 30 here. Everywhere they stop, they drop $1 million or $2 million. So we should have had those bridges, we should have had the original bridges made and gotten rid of these Bailey bridges. We shouldn't be dealing with daily bridges. These are little temporary bridges. So it's really a shame we don't have money, but the little bit of money that we have, you can see it is not being properly utilized. It's being wasted. We should have had permanent bridges, and this business of building little bridges, the height of the road flat, we have to go up. Matt, look at the George Washington Bridge and some of these bridges in the United States. You have to climb when you're going up to them and then come down. So the kind of clearance you have underneath there, even if trees come down or whatever, your bridge is safe. You have to stop building little bridges here, little bridges. In fact, every time rain falls heavily, I am concerned about it.
But remember, the engineers gave us the assurance that it would be safe, huh?
Well, yes, they did. But you know, Matt, I believe that we have to design our bridges differently. Look at the old bridge at Makushwi, Matt. The old bridge that was built since in 1920. And it withstood all the heavy rains, and these modern-day bridges just cannot take it. We have to go higher. Look at the height of that bridge. Have a good morning, Matt.
Have a good morning. Let's take another phone call there. We'll take a break in a few minutes. Hello.
Matt, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, bro?
Matt, early on when Kai was speaking, you mentioned to Kai that Lapling got $1 million. I just got to make a quick correction. Lapling got a promise of $1 million, and that's where it ends, as usual. Every village always gets a promise of a big figure, and it never materializes. It's just for news, song bites, and for a few applause.
So you don't think that Lapland will get that $1 million?
Just like Penn just didn't get the basketball court, and everywhere else didn't get anything. That man just goes around and just makes announcements, and it never materializes. Check, do the research. Go to the different village councils. Go back to them and ask them if it came through. Go back to the villages that he passed through every time he under pressure and ask them if they really got what he came and announced. It's just announcement. It is just announcement all the time. It's just psychology and games. But they like it so.
Caller, thank you very much. 833. Hello, talk to me.
Good morning, Matt.
To you, sir.
Matt, you realize since after Erica, all temporary bridges have become permanent bridges. And that is not no surprise that this bridge is collapsing and many others to collapse. But interestingly, we see a situation where the permanent bridges have been broken down. And I have two examples. Roseau Bridge that was not touched by Erica, even if it was due for repairs in some aspect, but it was not damaged. And you had the Layou Valley Bridge. And what these guys did? They broke down these two bridges, especially the one in Layou Valley, forcing the farmers out of their land, because at that time the farmers didn't have no access, right? And coming and saying you build a bridge. Just leave that bridge there in Layou Valley and put a new bridge so that in the meantime you're building a new bridge, the farmers could access their farms on the old bridge. And Matt, interestingly, when we talk about the government involving in terms of technical work, that is true. Yes, the engineers have told us that it is safe to cross and that we have to take their wood because at the end of the day, they are the technicians. But recently, we have seen government ministers getting involved in the technical aspects of the project, whereas they're responsible for policy. So it is not nothing strange, Matt, that we see government ministers trying to justify things that they want to push a political agenda. They will come and tell you, like, for instance, the geothermal, we're not straying, but they always have some idea about geothermal. They don't know about that. So really, you have to divorce the technicians from the politicians, and the politicians must stay away because they do not know. And Matt, it is sad to see that we have 4 main bridges collapsed on the West Coast. And to tell me, my friend, that it is state, if Ralph Guns have now asked for his Bailey bridges now, if something happened in St. Vincent and he wants these bridges, what are we going to do? I mean, really? And we're making money? Matt, and that's why I'm telling you, again, I'm not straying again. When you have the Prime Minister live in a residence the government provide for him and go and rent in Mount Daniel, all these monies could have created employment. From Patrick John time, Patrick John was living in Watmont Bruce. You find that Prime Minister, he left there, he went to Castle Comfort, he said, up there was termite infested. What is the justification of moving to Mount Daniel and you have a government residence? Just depleting the resources of the country. So again, it's bad management and they need to go. These guys don't really need to go. Thank you, sir.
Thank you too. Hello, talk to me.
Good morning, man.
Morning.
How are you?
Good.
Let me tell you, you realize when the Prime Minister said about CBI money, he is a propaganda thing because everything now is not China again, it's not any other organization, it's CBS money because of the pressure from the opposition, especially the leader of the opposition. Now, do you realize that anything you have on the road does it come from the Treasury? That if he say, I can give you $500, does it come from the Treasury? Since that money drying up and the place just making promises, because of the pressure that's on him, he can making promises. He cannot deliver. So that is why he cannot give an increase in salary, because the Treasury is empty. The Treasury don't have any money. He have private money and they send it back, because the money don't go to the Treasury. They use the money to the thing. Now the CBI money is drying up. So they cannot give increase in salary because they cannot sustain it. Thank you.
Thank you, too. More telephone calls. Hello, talk to me.
Matt, what I cannot understand is that after Erica, so many friendly government came to our rescue, Matt, to send assistance for us. So many diasporas, Matt, send assistance to the people of Dominica. We put in some temporary bridge all over, Matt, and not one out of those temporary bridge has become permanent. The government has just forget about temporary bridge and just leave the temporary bridge to permanent bridge. You cannot do that. You don't hurt a people, you don't hurt a country like that. Dr. Lai, we are asking you to step aside. Mr. Skerrit, step aside. You cannot continue to run a country like that. The man is on record by telling us, if not passport, then what? Matt, you cannot continue. Look at the amount of money that we are hearing from passport, Matt, and Dominica haven't got proper bridges. And Dr. Lai see it fit and necessary to go and break down a bridge in Roseau. We are not saying that we don't need of a bridge in Roseau, but you have to put things straight. It's a thing they call want and need. You have to prioritize things, Matt. You just go there and you break down a bridge. Look at the West Coast, what happened down there. Those guys that just don't have the foresight to sit down, to plan, and to think. But when it comes for raping and prostituting the resources of the country, they are well qualified for that. Dr. Lai must go, man, Matt. We had enough of that.
Thank you very much. It's 8:39 in the morning. Let's take a phone call. Caller, you have to stay on the line there for a minute, okay? We're going to come back right after this.
I'll take a small.
XL, that's the size for me. Flow's new prepaid combo plans have the most choice and value for everyone. Save up to 90% by combining your talk, text, and data into one simple plan. And with options starting at just $15.99, it's easy to say it, type it, or share it. A whole lot more for a whole lot less. Dial *129# now to activate. The bigger you go, the bigger you save with Flow's new prepaid combo plans. This is how we flow.
Okay, thank you very much. Somebody says, an insider says, Matt, the Chinese will start work on the West Coast. We're talking West Coast road and bridges somewhere in August. Okay. The hurricane season starts in June. 8:39.
Hello, good morning, Matt.
How are you, sir?
Well, Matt, I'm making out. I'm doing good. I hope the government is paying attention to the seawater on the Mendenhall Road. Matt, the problem we have in this country is that when persons make observations of certain things that are going wrong, the government quickly come and say, well, you is not an expert. This challenge we have is the experts that's supposed to give the critical advice. They only make speeches based on what their political masters want them to see. It is unfortunate. Matt, we have a situation where we heard statements that $1 million is going to be given to La Plaine. It is going to be given to supporters of the Labour Party in La Plaine over a period of time, probably years. We heard the Prime Minister talking about Kalidishi need 150 toilets. The truth is 2 weeks ago, the power rep for that area come and gave them 50. So that means maybe in the next 2 years, close to election, they're going to get the rest. So that is the political gimmick that is going on in the country. We have a situation where the Prime Minister came to St. Andrews. I don't know if he's afraid of the Iranians. He sent his police there hours before to search up the place. When the police came in, he wanted to see the fourth foreman and fifth formers, but the auditorium was leaking. So they had to use
the computer room, Matt. If you look at the pictures, you will see a set of computers on desk. They have to use the computer room. I say shame on Stero. So instead of telling the people, the students, okay, I got to make some money available to fix the auditorium and to finally complete it, he fool around the bushes, beat around the bushes, talking nonsense about airport and so on. But what was worse, when school over, the first and second formers that was not part of the meeting wanted to leave. The police closed the gate and said nobody enters or leave until the Prime Minister finished. I don't know if you think a truck will come in there with a bomb or whatever. How can you do children that? You're talking about you're in government, you're in Prime Ministership for 14 years, and it's now you're charging people too much at the customs? I mean, let us be real. You're under pressure. You are being asked to leave because of incompetence, because all of your friends are crooks and criminals, and you're coming up with everything else excepting to step aside and give the opposition an opportunity to transform the social fabric of the Dominican society. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, too. Let's go to the overseas line. Hello.
Good morning, Matt.
Morning to you.
You know what is so laughable with that thing that's going on in Dominica and that Lapland money? Before they used to call Lapland over. Right now, Dominica is the over of the Caribbean. You understand? You can't get there. Sorry.
Hello. 8:43. Morning to you, sir.
Everything is okay with you?
But now.
Okay, Matt, the reason why I called in your program this morning is to get Dominicans to refresh their minds. Matt, when you see a previous Prime Minister's government before, after a storm or a hurricane or a disaster, Matt, it used to see a pleasure to see public works is in order, you know. When you see used to have a disaster or a storm, Matt, it used to be a pleasure to see the public works takes their vehicle, their machines, and they on the way clearing the road. Where are those things, Matt? Dominicans, you have to understand is, you vote for a government, and it's your choice. But now we have a choice, is the country we have to think of. Matt, the government does not care about its people. If you say you are a loving Prime Minister, you are a caring Prime Minister, when you look all over the country, Matt, there is nothing you can say you satisfy of the country when it comes to a nation. Yes, one or two individuals might benefit, but what about the country in a whole? And what I'm saying, Matt, we don't even need to kill ourselves anymore. If the government was a loving government and a caring government, Skerrit would have resigned with honors. You cannot tell me you are running a country with your ministers and your government, and you in all that allegation, not one minister for a reason would step aside and say, Dominicans, I resign until investigation is complete. You mean to tell me no minister, nobody coming out and step down just for a while? Everybody is just quiet, and you want Dominicans to agree with you? Matt, a call on your program sometime last week, and I want to let the caller know that what she said there was really correct. If you have confidence in the country you run, if you are a prime minister of a country and you have confidence, you should be bold enough to go into the country and let us know what is happening. Why you want to run into a school and deal with fifth formers and fourth formers? Don't go and mess up the children's minds in that school. Come to the public and let the public question you. Why you want to run to a school and to announce plans and programs here for the country? That is not correct. And stop fooling the children. Tell the Prime Minister, come to the nation. Take questions. And Skerrit have to understand, my brother, is no point fighting about it. Just leave. Put somebody, what they're trying to tell me, you run in a country. If for some reason an individual minister has a problem or they have to resign, you mean to tell me nobody cannot step out, Matt? But what kind of country is that? If it's not Skerrit, then who? The Labour Party should be ashamed. When you watch the UWP and you have leader Leonard Flinton, you have Isaac, you have Sanford, we have capable men and women there. But the man just stay in the power as if the country belongs to him. You mean tell me nobody in the Labour Party cannot step up? What a shame, Matt. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to take a break and then we'll come back, of course, to continue to talk right here on Q95.
You've got the edge over your circumstances. Many times there'll be trials to face. At least when it comes to your waning finances, you've got the edge. Help is coming your way. You've got big edge for those days when you're running low. Big edge is the place to go. Big edge, the cash can be in your hand. Big edge, with the easiest payment plan. Big edge, cash in a flash.
I'll take a small.
Double XL. That's the size for me. Flo's new prepaid combo plans have the most choice and value for everyone. Save up to 90% by combining your talk, text, and data into one simple plan. And with options starting at just $15.99, it's easy to say it, type it, or share it. A whole lot more for a whole lot less. Dial *129# now to activate. The bigger you go, the bigger you save with Flo's new prepaid combo plans. This is how we flow.
If this hurricane coming, I'd better make sure I'm ready. I have my batteries, flashlight, water, tuna, sardines, and of course, Cricks. My vital supplies. Plus, with this new packaging, Cricks stays fresher for longer. So now I'm prepared for anything.
Cricks Vital Supplies.
Beat the heat. You want to feel cool all the time? Well, here's a deal of a lifetime. Own today a top quality air conditioned unit from Tong Refrigeration. It's as easy as $186 monthly. Anybody can have it. Just ask for the Cool and Easy payment plan. Cool and Easy at Tong Refrigeration at Fokule. Terms and conditions apply.
Time to sleep, darling.
Dad, are there any monsters under the bed?
Not while I'm here. You're safe and sound.
Feeling cared for, protected, and secure. It's a feeling that every Massey United Insurance customer knows. After all, they're in the same safe hands, protected by our financial strength, stability, and experience, and cared for by our team. Now, all our customers are even more secure with the sound strength of Massey. It's a great feeling. Massey United Insurance. To learn more, contact our agents, JB Charles and Company Limited at 448-2876, CAM Dupini Inc. at 448-3012, and LA Dupini and Company Limited at 448-2310.
Hi, I am Wayne Benjamin, better known as Mr. Benji. Did you know that Dominica was listed among Caribbean's journal's best Caribbean islands for snorkeling?
This was brought to you by the Discover Dominica Authority.
For all your shopping needs at the best prices in Dominica, shop at S-Mart. Shop smart at S-Mart.
Shop smart at S-Mart. Give me some Lotto.
All my favorite snacks.
Shop smart at S-Mart. I get a top-up flow and digital. Shop smart at S-Mart.
Sunday to Sunday.
Open on holidays. Shop smart at S-Mart. So much fresh fruit and produce.
Good quality service. Yeah. Unlimited parking. Yeah. All the best products at S-Mart. You get the best prices.
Shop smart at S-Mart for great prices and unlimited parking. Entrance and exit on both Goodwin Road and Rawls Avenue. Open 7 days a week. Call 448-2340. Shop smart at
S-Mart.
It's a 6-week pre-Easter promotion happening at the Healthy Living Wellness Center, March 6 to April 15, 2017, offering 25% discount on all services. Get the benefits of a lifetime member. Call them today at 440-8988.
Okay, let's take more phone calls at this time. Hello, talk to me.
Matt,
Yes.
I am sending an SOS to the Minister of Public Works. The last time she came and she talked and she said they're having their plan and everything. In 3 months' time, we will start the Bafeset Emsall Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
The river wall, nothing's been. Matt, if you were around to see the river in Bafeset when the rain was falling, oh, it's just that we are accustomed, we did not run. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But I want the Minister of Public Works to remember that she came and watched the bridge and everything. Do something for us, please. We are waiting. You all have money. Do something for the Bafeset Emsall Bridge. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. Thank you. 851. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good morning, Matt.
Morning, sir.
You ask why the bridge in Marcus Street collapsed, Matt?
I mean, after we were told it was safe.
I'm not hearing you clearly.
I said, yes, after we were told by the engineers that, it was safe.
Oh, yes, Matt. Let me tell you why. Incompetence and disregard. This ain't no humor because the situation so bad for the road users. Matt, I was just quoting Trinidad Rio. The problem, Matt, as you know, is either incompetence or when the engineers give their advice, it is disregarded. As Brother Mervyn said, if you look at the original bridge, it is much higher than the present bridge. And I understand, Matt, I don't know if that is true, but I understand because that is the rumors making the wrong, that the owner of Marcus Street is getting $8,000 every month for the use of his land. Now, if that is happening since tropical storm Erika, the amount of money government has spent uselessly. So why didn't they build the original bridge, replace the original bridge? I think it would have been much cheaper. And I do not agree with Brother Parks that they do not have money. They have money, just that the money is in Malaysia, it is in bank in Panama, it is in banks all over the place. We have money. The Prime Minister said money is no problem. So fix up, build new bridges, and fix up the country and let the people be comfortable. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, too. More telephone calls, 853. Hello.
Thanks, blessings, and glory to all those who have sacrificed their personal safety and security trying to elevate mankind to humanity. Mr. Pelletti, blessings to your family.
Good morning to you, blessings.
I heard you using the word as an excuse. Which you have really got diplomatic passport and they deny you. Matt, it is rumored that you have a diplomatic passport and the immigrations are buying you from leaving the country. Is that true? You investigating, Carl. I'm investigating, so I investigating too. Matt, have a blessed day. Disregard that.
Have a great one.
Matt, you there with me?
Yeah, man.
Matt, I'm listening to the madness. And Matt, to maintain my sanity, I have to laugh and try to be humorous. I am not Peter Prosper who said that a lady called another lady and she was ironing. Phone these days are so big, she pick up her iron and stuck it to her ear. So the lady met and tell her, what happened to the other side if that is what had happened? She said the lady called back. Peter Prosper kill people. But Matt, I have to laugh because Dominicans, it is serious, but try to maintain your sanity by exercising a level of humor. Matt, I have said it already, The brother is criminally mischievous. That is Roosevelt Skerrit. And you can play the how they call it, the thing after I talk. And I'm not going to be too extreme, to the disclaimer. Roosevelt Skerrit is criminally mischievous and criminally insane. He loves to see people in a state of suffering and where they would have to come to him to say, Massa, a plantation mentality. Massa, my child cannot go to school. My child needs this. And Massa, they cut my light. And he takes great pride in that. He do not love to see people being independent. That's why he have all these little clowns surrounding him, calling themselves ministers and senators. They are mute. And what he cleverly did is to have all of them deep dive, plunge and plummet in the cesspool of corruption. So they dare not point a finger at him, accusing him of any irregularities, because they themselves are a part of the field. And that is where he have them cornered, Matt. They cannot talk. Even if he curse them and in cabinet, he take a spring water bottle and send in the crowd, all of them have to be diving for cover and cursing them. They cannot talk, Matt. And the madness continues. My brother, what the brother is capitalizing on is to see Dominica in a permanent state of disrepair. And to talk labor katwavai. Not true that the man say, when the weather, the hurricane season cool out, the Chinese would be building the West Coast Road. It was said that is $40 million from the CBI money to give to the Chinese. Ridiculousness, we to the next level, we taking it, to repair the West Coast Road, So the Chinese giving us grant, the Chinese doing the infrastructural work. They're giving us loans, they're doing the infrastructural work. And now we're going to take our CBI money and give to them. And where the Chinese is another lie. He play games like that. He have promised an international airport about 4 times already. Now going to the Northeastern Comprehensive School, promising them and saying, I am the first one, and sorry, you are the first one, I tell him that. That's what that happened, I am the first one, and he goes stuttering and stumbling over words because he knows he's lying. He's very impulsive. He do not have to calculate his actions. It's a sudden urge to say something or to do something. So really and truly, when we see that level of madness, and we're saying, shame on scary, it's a shame on us. We Dominicans, this is a shame on us. It's not scary. And Matt, is in closing, if you're standing at the edge of a precipice and a man have a gun and telling you to jump, Matt, wouldn't you rather the man shoot you and you fall down there? You think Scary going to voluntarily jump? He want to, and I'm not saying that literally that you need to shoot Scary, but I'm just using an analogy where Scary needs to be forced out. He's not going to voluntarily get away because that is suicidal. It's like jumping in the precipice. You would want the man to shoot you instead, so you're going down there half dead or dead already. So really and truly, we are there wasting time and fooling around. The world is on his back. He's trying to go like Doodle Coke and what's that guy name in Panama? I just forgot the big drug deal, and the U.S. had to go and get him. He wants to strengthen his base.
You're talking Noriega?
Manuel Noriega, the same thing. Go and strengthen his base on the ground. So if the U.S. come in search of him or the opposition looking to pursue him, then he will have people to give the 2 barrels of guns. They disappear from the port and look, go and kill Linton, shoot Blessings. Because he went to Westby and said that if all you vote in the opposition, the blood of the nation will be on all your hands. So that is why I can come to that conclusion. Roosevelt's carrot is criminally mischievous, and Roosevelt's carrot will shed blood if we think we're going to get him out without a fight. Too much atrocities happen in that country, and we think we're just going to get Roosevelt's carrot out. We have to pay with our blood, whether the innocent or the guilty. It's we that create our monster, and we have to slay it. Thank you.
The housing situation is one that poses serious concern for me as Palret. In fact, at one time I used to refer to La Plaine as an affluent community. Today, I have changed my story. Because while you see some big homes on the highway, when you go into La Plaine, there are some people who live in real terrible conditions. In fact, right now, the housing officer is doing an assessment. The housing situation is one that poses serious concern for me as Palret. In fact, at one time I used to refer to La Plaine as an affluent community. Today, I have changed my story. Because while you see some big homes on the highway, when you go into La Plaine, there are some people who live in real terrible conditions. In fact, right now the housing officer is doing an assessment.
So if the world's largest economy and other developed countries have their various programs or varied programs, you understand how important it is for small islands like Dominica. Because I can tell you, my dear brothers and sisters, as the Minister of Finance, I would find it extraordinarily difficult, especially post-Erica, and the serious challenges which Erica imposed on us as a country to be able to finance our reconstruction efforts. And I want to say to you here in La Plaine in this constituency that this government is running a very transparent, accountable CBI program that can stand the test of scrutiny anywhere in the world. And those who seek to undermine and criticize the program, hoping that it will end, these people have no interest in us and our country and our well-being. So in addition to all of the investments, and I want Peter's colleagues who are present, I'm hoping that they're hearing me tonight, and to advance the Dashin housing project in this constituency, I am committing $1 million to that initiative so that we can continue to improve the housing situation confronting many families in this constituency. So in addition to all of the investments, and I want Peter's colleagues who are present, I'm hoping that they're hearing me tonight, and to advance the Dashin housing project in this constituency, I am committing $1 million to that initiative so that we can continue to improve the housing situation confronting many families in this constituency.
$1 million. 902, hello.
Good morning to Dominicans.
Yes.
Saltfish, codfish, and lamoui means the same thing. It only spells differently. That is the cabinet of Dominica. And Matt, when the engineers were doing the road, the Glogomia Road, when the engineers, they did a piece portion of road opposite the Debouche Bridge, and they did not put any drainage to the road. The engineer told them that would not work. They said no, they cut in costs. By the time they turned their back, some rain fell and washed out all the concrete that was laid there. That was a waste of money. Yet it was that very same government that criticized the Workers' Party and said that the demolition of our roads were done because they did not give it a drainage. Lie, 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 and more lies. But don't worry, just a matter of time. Thank you very much.
903, hello, this is the hot seat.
The clipping that you played, you hear Dr. Lai say, I am contributing 1 million. Not his cabinet, but I am. Who is Roosevelt Kerry to say I am contributing 1 million? He's out of place and he's rude. And then in the same clipping, he says that the CBI is open and transparent. But if it is open and transparent, I didn't want it to see if it was not open and if it was not transparent. Matt, this man plays on the minds of Dominicans, and he thinks because he can fool some labor rights, he can fool the patriots, and he can fool all Dominicans. We know why you left Mont Bruce and went to Mont Daniel, because you knew Mont Fares was coming to live in Mont Daniel, so you went to live in Mont Daniel in advance, preparing for Mont Fares. And then you come talking about international airport. This is a madman. And we are saying Dr. Lai must go. We are saying the cabinet must go. And I call and say, is not one minister that is stepping aside in the interest of Dominica. They cannot step aside because every one of them are tainted. They're saying to us, if not Dr. Lai, then who? So they are saying to us that they are so incompetent when Dr. Lai would have stepped down, or the people of Dominica will remove Dr. Lai. That is the end for the Labour Party, because if not he, Dr. Lai, there isn't any one of them within the camp that can take the leadership. And I commend them for that, Matt, for saying, if not Dr. Lai, then who? So every one of them must go, Matt. And don't expect a minister to resign. They will not resign. It's alleged that some of them you have to pay them to run an general election. It's alleged that they get money, some of them, to run elections. So how do you expect them? They will marvel, they will say things behind Dr. Lai back. They want him to fall because they want the post and all sorts of things. But they cannot face Dr. Lai in front of him to tell him what. Not one of them can do it.
Hello, thank you. It's 9:05. Hello.
Good morning, Matt.
To you, sir.
Very interesting program this morning. Let me take the last one first. I think as the parliamentary representative for the Salisbury Kudibi-Shimonoche constituency, I believe by the statement made by the Prime Minister in Laplin, giving them $1 million for the housing project.
Somebody corrected us, promising $1 million.
Promise, yes, a promise of $1 million. I see it as that they are provoking the small business owners in Kudibi Street to anger. Matt, since Erica, they did an evaluation of the people in Kudibi Street, the business owners who lost almost everything, and they have not received a black cent. We're going on 2 years. And the Prime Minister is moving from village to village, constituency to constituency offering them money. And they have not seen it fit to meet with the small business owners, homeowners of Cooley Street, people who got affected by Erica. You had a guy who had a bakery, Ferdinand, who had a bakery in Cooley Street. Everything gone. Bosses, people like Cleve and others who had the garages, they lose every single thing. Abbott and all the other shop owners, Winston Personal, if they lose every single thing, Matt. And they have the name on a list so that they could meet with them or give them some support to get back on their feet. And they have not seen it fit to go back to Cooley Street to meet with these individuals. And you hear any prime minister moving from village to village and skipping Cooley Street and the constituencies won by the United Workers' Party and not give them the support. After Pilit Savan, Cooley Street was the most affected by Erica, Tropical Storm Erica. Cooley Street that the government used to send every official that came into the island, prime minister from Barbados, from Grenada, the head of, I think, the OAS and other places who came to Dominica, they were sent to Cooley Street to look at the damage. And the government promised the people of Cooley Street that they would give them the attention that they deserved. And you're telling me 2 years later you have money to share everywhere, CBI, Scatawavai, and nothing is being done to assist the small business owners of Cooley Street. You're provoking the people to anger. Matt, that is serious. I got 3 calls already from the people from the village of Cooley Street as soon as they heard that this morning. And they are not taking it lightly. I hope the Prime Minister, I hope his people, they are listening. They're provoking the people of Cooley Street to anger. Have a blessed day.
Hello, are you there still? Hello? I suspect he left. I was about to ask you about the Bailey Bridge at Marcus Street. What is the latest information in that? Hector Sparks, John, maybe you should give me a call back. Hello, talk to me.
Good morning, Matt.
Yes, sir.
And how are you?
Good.
And good morning to your listeners, locally, regionally, and internationally.
Uh-huh.
Matt, as a person in Lapland who is very much concerned about, and I worked in local government and community development, and everything that is given or offered to the community, I welcome it, and I want to say that I am happy to learn that the Prime Minister promised the community of Lapland $1 million for housing, and I welcome the promise. But I feel insulted as a civic-minded person, a patriotic Dominican, and a person who is concerned about the welfare, the well-being of the people of Lapland, that the Prime Minister could use that word, that is building, dashing, advancing the dashing houses. The Prime Minister must be more genuine, and I think respect the integrity of the people of Lapland and people like me. Because all that he has done is to confirm the allegation that is made against the minister with that dashing scenario. So I think it is disrespectful to the minister and disrespectful to the community if he's genuinely advancing the housing program in Lapland. As a villager myself, I welcome it because I know that there are people in the village who are in need of help, and I welcome it. But if he's doing it genuinely, he must not cast sarcasm or be sarcastic. He must be real. To tell the people of Lapland he is promising $1 million to advance the dashing housing program. Just because the minister was accused of some dashing problem in Lapland, we must take away fiction and face reality. If he's helping the people of Lapland, tell the people of Lapland he's helping them in their housing.
In other words, it should not be a joking matter.
It should not be a joking matter because I understood why I'm lying down there that they built some little houses in Lapland, and I can assure that people welcome it. And there's a gentleman who we built a house for him, and he's one of those who were involved in the allegation of being beaten by the minister. And he built a house for him. So he's just confirming now that the house that he built for the young man. It was not genuinely built because of the dashing problem. So I'm just advising the Prime Minister. He's a guy that he and I had a good relationship before, but he must try to be more serious and sincere when he makes those kind of statements to tell people he's building dashing. When he's going to build manor houses.
Caller, thank you very much. And 9/11. This is the Prime Minister.
In addition to all of the investments, and I want Peter's colleagues who are present, I'm hoping that they're hearing me tonight, and to advance the Dashing housing project in this constituency, I am committing $1 million to that initiative so that we can continue to improve the housing situation confronting many families in this constituency.
Good morning. We're taking another phone call. Hello.
Hey, hello, Matt. Sorry, I realize you're trying to...
Yes, I was trying to find out the latest there on the bridge, Hector Spanks. John, I know, of course, we lost that Bailey Bridge in the Macquarie area on the weekend. Have you heard or have you been able to speak to the minister, anybody responsible?
The minister came down there the afternoon. She was there for, I think, the PS and maybe a senior engineer from the public works. They were there. But I passed through there about 4:45 on Saturday, and they had heavy equipment preparing, fixing both approaches to the old Macquarie Bridge, a bridge that has been built maybe since 1920. So that is the bridge that is there. Matt, my biggest concern is that is the level of disrespect to the Dominicans on a whole, especially those living and working north of the Macquarie Bridge. Matt, you have those come the villages, not even the villages, the hotel, Tamarind Tree Hotel, that is just there, right back to Capuchin. Everybody accessing that bridge on a daily basis. Matt, when we had the protest actions in Salisbury, we had hotel owners like Gregor Nassif who spoke publicly against we standing up for the road affecting his business in the north, he said. But I saw tourists, they were stranded at Macquarie on that day. They had to leave their vehicles there and stood up there for hours waiting to see if they could pass through. And that is a concern that we have, not only but for Dominicans moving back and forth. But we have been speaking and calling on the government. When I made the comment in December about the bridge, and they brought down the entire public works officials, and that's when they said the bridge was safe. And we saw what happened a few months later, just about from December, January, February, March, 3 months later. And what is happening, Matt, you cannot build a bridge. I am not an engineer, but put the foundation for a bridge on a riverbed. And then on both approaches, north and south, to the bridge, you just fill it up with sand. But you had boulders there, the river took all the boulders since the first time. You're going to have some problems anytime. And we made that point to publicly. The engineers came and said it was safe. And these are the concerns we were raising, genuine concerns. And I hope the government, we are hearing that the Chinese is going to start the bridge somewhere right in August, the rainy season. We have troughs happening anytime, every time. And they're more intense. How soon are you going to address that bridge? But we are hearing that the piece of road that passes on the Macquarie Estate costs in excess of $2 million to build, because you have it 500 feet long by about 16 feet wide by 6 inches thick. Plus you have to put BRC wire in it. And we're hearing, by some estimation, it might reach about over $2 million, because it's about $700 per cubic yard of concrete to pour there, Matt. And that is what we're talking about. Money that could maybe even build the bridge. We laid down on the road for temporary Bailey Bridge. And up to now, Matt, almost 2 years, nothing has been done. And that is a serious concern as a member of parliament, as someone living on the West Coast. That is a concern that I have. You have a lot of the compromised bridges and canals and culverts. They have not been addressed, Matt, for over almost 2 years. And that is a concern for all of us on the West. It should be a concern for everybody, every Dominican, especially those living north of Makushri River.
Caller, thank you very much for, of course, putting some perspective there on the issue of the Makushri Bridge. We'll follow that one to give you the latest when it becomes available. Hello.
Mr. Pellet, it's just me again.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Dominicans, I mean not to be, demeaning the brother or disrespecting. It's not my intention. It's just that it is a duck. Roosevelt Skerrit is a madman. Matt, can you imagine? I heard the dashing, but I check in what context the dashing were used. Mr. Joseph, blessings to you, sir, and your family.
Mm-hmm.
It's the brother that making me understand what the brother really used the dashing, housing, whatever for you, no, Matt. Matt, can you not see where we are? Not you, Matt, but Dominicans at home and abroad. Can you not see where we are? It's not where we are heading. Roosevelt Skerrit is in charge of a whole country, and for years I've been questioning his sanity, his mental stability, and go to hell is not your dumb business. This country is too free. Man to man will mash them up. Woman to woman will mash them up. Go to Wesley, or if you vote the United Workers' Party, the blood of the country will be on all your hands. No going and talk about dashing house and a million. And Peter St. John reminded them, all the money will not come one time. Interesting, Matt. So that's what they're doing, Matt. They're overestimating everything. They project. I use a thing the other day: projection, dissipation, and then amnesia kicks in. How convenient the ban. The amnesic barrier they're creating in the minds of Dominicans to compartmentalize and segmentize, Matt, or put into segments things. So you have so much to deal with. Your brains, even it have the potential to retain so much. You're confused because they're hitting you with so many promises, Matt. One behind the other, and look at this. What I advising the United Workers' Party to do? Every West Skerrit going to give money. Next 2 days, all you there. And I'm not even going to say all you these days. I'm going to even say, you know something? I might just be a workers. I might just have to start dressing in blue. Or maybe dressing red and declaring that I am blue. Dominicans, what is wrong with all you? I don't know what for me to, I don't know what for the parliamentary opposition to do. After Matthew Angelo, Alvin, Matt Pelte, Carlisle, blessings every big mouth in the country is telling Dominicans wake up, and Dominicans agree they're taking sleeping pills. If somebody think they wake them up, they voluntarily blindfolding themselves. If somebody think they make them see. What is wrong with we in that dumb country, Matt? To have a madman running a whole country? My brother, have a blessed day. Take care.
Have a blessed day. Kenneth Ridjock is asking a very important question this morning. Kimberly Benjamin reports.
The newly installed Attorney General of the United States, Jeff Sessions, has removed the sitting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Preet Bharara. It is Bharara who has been prosecuting the $400 million Iran sanctions evasion case against gold and oil trader Reza Zarrab. Will a new prosecutor mean more indictments in this case? I make this point because the administration of President Donald Trump appears to be significantly more antagonistic to the regime in Iran than his predecessor, and you can expect the next U.S. attorney in Manhattan to share that position. While we do not know whether there are sealed indictments pending in the Zarrab case against absent or fugitive defendants in the Middle East or elsewhere, such as Babak Zanjani, now facing the death penalty, or Ali Reza Monfared, the Zanjani partner extradited to Iran, whose possession of a Dominican diplomatic passport ignited a firestorm of controversy over the legitimacy and possible corruption surrounding his acquisition of that document. There may now be additional prominent defendants named by Bharara's successor who will want to demonstrate his resolve in prosecuting Iran sanctions violations. One possible co-conspirator who may have already been charged or who could now be added is the Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerrit, whose close relationship with Ali Reza Monfared, now facing prosecution in Iran on corruption charges, has rejected widespread calls for his resignation or removal from office. Questions to ponder about Prime Minister Skerrit. 1. Since Monfare's arrests and extradition, the Prime Minister has refrained from travel into or through the United States, even through his wife and child have apparently permanently relocated to his $2 million condominium in New York City. Does he fear a sealed indictment may be waiting for him in Miami at Customs and Border Protection? He may be staying out of America upon advice of his counsel that the risk of possible arrest and pretrial detention is too high to ignore for what would be solely a social visit. 2. Has Skerritt's U.S. visa been revoked? Pursuant to Presidential Proclamation 7750 of January 12, 2004, foreign officials involved in corruption will have their U.S. visa revoked and barred from entry. This happened with the then Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis during the disgraced citizenship by investment scandal, and who has never had his visa restored since, even after he left office. Whether Skerritt has also had his visa revoked cannot be determined, as U.S. privacy regulations do not allow that information to be publicly disclosed, but it may explain his strange failure to visit his family. 3. Is there any truth to the story rolling around Dominica last week that the Internal Revenue Service IRS served some sort of warrant upon Skerritt's wife at their secluded New York City luxury condominium? Remember, they own that unit through a Delaware corporation, which generally is an attempt to hide the identity of the beneficial owner. If there are money laundering issues arising out of the source of funds used for the purchase of that real estate, other possible charges could be filed. We await the naming of USA Barara's successor and wonder aloud whether that individual will widen the scope of the case and whether it will name additional defendants from the Caribbean, be they senior government officials, senior buy investment officers, or even local bankers or attorneys.
That report there from Kenneth Rejock, financial consultant and blogger. We'll keep bringing you the latest information. More questions there from Kenneth Rejock. Hello, talk to me here. More telephone calls, 924. Are you there, caller?
Yes, good morning, Matt.
Morning to you.
Yes, I hope you don't mind me going back on an issue you dealt with a while ago. I think the Rejock exposure you just had is very interesting, but...
I'm very happy you could join us this morning, Mr. Green.
I'm fine, thank you. I wanted to also welcome the PM's recent...
announcement.
Announcement of all of a sudden $1 million to the Lapland constituency. So much needs to be done that has not been done in bridges, the White River Bridge, the Boetica Gorge. Who knows, the Boetica Gorge might go like Makushri anytime. Roads like the Rosalieve area where every day you pass, you're not sure you're going to pass. The passage through Petit Savan, sports fields incomplete, agriculture in serious doldrums. So there's a lot to be done, and $1 million, whilst it is welcome, is certainly a reflection, I think, too, of the fact that very little has been done, in the area over the number of years. So it's welcome, but it's very sad too, because it deepens this very sick episode, this buyout, this corruption regarding the allegations of kidnapping, beating, and false accusation of 3 young men in regard to the Dasheen. When he calls it his $1 million for Dasheen houses, it opens up that sad episode once again, because frankly, the community would have expected an apology, and instead of an apology, because no Dasheen was in fact stolen, the facts came out later, the minister continues to deny, the minister involved continues to deny that, everything, none of that actually happened. So what do we actually have in La Plaine right now? We have one Dasheen house, and now we have $1 million, a bold, in my view, blatant attempt to buy the silence, buy the and silence the cries of Lapland people for all of the things that supposed to have been put in place by this Labour government over the last number of years. So that is what we have today. I think it's further indication that we are going nowhere in the country, and that the Prime Minister and his ministers are confused and trying to buy time and to hide the very embarrassing situation to Dominica regarding CBI money that is not accounted for, diplomatic passports not accounted for, monies that are all over the world unaccounted for, and we're getting $1 million promised in La Plaine. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you too. 9:27.
Good morning, Matt, again.
Yes, sir.
Matt, with all what has been said and those wild pronouncements that the Prime Minister have been making around the island with respect to promising or giving money around, I don't know how that is going to be accepted by the public service, because at the end of the day, the public service is the extension arm or operating arm of the government. And you have the accounting officers, Matt. You have the accounting officers that are supposed to know about what has taken place. But it seems to me that the Prime Minister operates outside the ambit of the norm, whereby you discuss things, you let people know about it, and then you go and make a pronouncement. He does that, puts the accounting officer under pressure, and do you know, all the promises been made, if the villagers happen to just come down and ask and go to the respective ministries responsible, you know they're going to tell you that they don't know anything about that? Matt, you see that gross irresponsibility of a leader of a country? That is unacceptable. With all what is being said, he's just saying that there, but no one knows about it. And so we cannot confirm it as being true. While it is welcome, it's true, everybody's going to welcome. Once your village getting somewhere, your community, you're going to welcome that. But is it being done in the right way? And who knows about it? I mean, that is a big disrespect to the public service. And you can go out there and tell people, I'm promising you that. Yet the public service again, who helps you run your programs or organize your program, put it together, you are disrespecting them and you're not giving them 000, and now they hear you all over the. By the time you reach 21 constituencies, that's $21 million, because you're going to promise each community or constituency $1 million, and you are giving them 000. I mean, Matt, isn't that level of gross disrespect? I've never seen that happen before administration. I know you go, you discuss, everyone is aware, you get the approval from your cabinet, then you're going to make your pronouncement. What we hear is wild pronouncement, no one knows about it, and then we know the Prime Minister saying, everybody says, he had just said that. We must hold this man accountable. This is not how you run a country. And this country, that's why these guys have to go, because we have no control. They have no control. Let's say anything. And we might be in elections are wrong. What elections are wrong? I mean, every 5 years we are due for election. What we do by election now? All the wrongdoing this man, this man doesn't have to go. Mr. Skerrit, pack up and go. Thank you, man.
Thank you, too. It's 9:29 in the morning. This is the Hot Set, Dominica's most talked about talk show. Hello.
Good morning, Matt. How you doing?
To you. Good morning.
It's nice to have you still here with us, Matt. Matt, we are in Skerrit and Tony Stefan suing everybody that on the opposition side that says something. But have you ever heard of the planning to sue Rijok yet, Matt?
No, I haven't heard.
Because Rijok coming up with a lot of dirt on them. And you have heard nothing about that, Matt? Oh boy, Matt, we're in a sorry state in our country. Mr. Skerrit, Roosevelt Skerrit, leave Dominica alone. Dominicans, we have to take a page from South Korea book and start really protesting till we get Skerrit out of the place. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
9:30. Hello.
Hello, Mark. I want to know, Rijok said something that the Prime Minister's wife had took asylum or something. She went to the States. Is she? I don't understand that. He said that the IRS sent
He was asking a question.
Huh?
He was asking the question.
Oh, he was asking a question?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Is it true? Yeah.
Okay.
All right, caller. Thank you very much. Hello.
Matt, you cannot sue someone for speaking the truth. Matt, you will recall the name David Chowdhury and a newspaper called the Weekly Blitz of Sri Lanka. They came out and they gave us a lot of dirt on the Prime Minister. They even linked Mr. Astafan's family to Hezbollah and Hamas. And when somebody asked Astafan about why they're not going after David Chowdhury, he said Chowdhury is the least of his worries. His function he was going after. And then there was an article, more or less blackmailing the Prime Minister, asking him to pay a certain amount of money by a certain date. The fellow put out an article. And he said he had 3 more articles to put out. No, 2 more articles to put out. And if he don't hear from the Prime Minister, he's going to publish the other 2 articles. And all of a sudden, the Prime Minister, and I can't remember which one of his co-hosts, went to Sri Lanka, and we never hear anything else. So, Matt, if you speak in the truth, there is no way you can be sued. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 9:32 is the morning time. Hello.
Good morning, Matthias Peltier Jr.
Yes, sir.
And good morning to your listeners. Matt, every disappointment is a blessing because we have you here again today, so you couldn't leave by the airport. We spent $127 million to put a car park in the bed of the river and have the Venezuelans take mud to prevent a barricade at the top of the airport. Matt, you know something that a lot of people don't realize? The river that ends up being Melville Hall River is actually 2 rivers of equal sizes, you know, Matt. There's a river coming from Coffee that joins the one coming from Vauxhall at the top of the airport. And I think a lot of people talk about Melville Hall, but they don't realize 2 rivers of equal sizes that join at the top of the airport. And Matt, that's was the kind of nonsense the Venezuelans did there. There is no kind of little nonsense they put when they remove the stones from the river. Okay, Matt, having said that, Matt, the other thing is this, Matt. The level of mediocrity, incompetence, corruption, deception, the lies and the propaganda that has now engulfed Dominica, Matt, starts from the governance, Matt. The Prime Minister, his cabinet, and some senior public servants, Matt, all facilitate the level of mediocrity that now pervades the entire country. There's a thing in the Bible that says it's not all that say, Lord, 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 that will enter the kingdom, Matt. It's not everybody that claims to be a professional that is professional in Dominica. For example, Matt, if you go to Coffee, there is a bridge that was built maybe in 1902 over the river from Coffee coming up. Matt, that bridge is still intact. At the Melville Hall River that was built maybe before my great-grandmother was born is still intact, Matt. But what has happened? We have these people going to university, coming back with degrees, and they can't do that. But, Matt, it's not them I'm blaming, you know. Matt, this is a deliberate attempt by Roosevelt Skerrit to undermine and to shut down the Public Works Department so his brother could get the contracts to do those work, Matt. But this is what is happening. And some of those ministers that end up owning the equipment that the Venezuelans left here after the airport work, Matt, they are the ones to get jobs.
His brother, you said? Does Roosevelt Skerrit, the Prime Minister, has a brother in construction?
You didn't know that, Matt?
I'm asking you.
Yes, Matt, the one that was supposed to have been redoing the hospital at Marigot and doing a roadside or he's now a road constructor. Man couldn't build a foul cube.
His brother, I don't know. I'll have to check those facts there. 9:35. Hello, talk to me.
Hello, morning, Matt.
How you doing?
Matt, you have a son, right?
Yes, I have a son.
Yeah, Matt, if you have a son and the son comes in bringing a sort of money, you see him buying cars, you see him buying boats.
I'll ask him a question.
And everything. You won't inform where you're getting that money from?
I'll have to ask a question, yes.
Right. Now, Matt, we have to ask ourselves where this man is getting this money from. Money block all over, Royal Bank, National Bank, all over. Where this money coming from? We have to start asking ourselves that question. You promising all these millions of dollars. We want to know where this money coming from. Matt, Dominican must open their eye, and see what's happening in this country. Dominicans must really open their eyes, because I see that path that man is taking, Matt, we in problem. We in deep shit in Dominica, because I can tell you, all these promises, none of these promises going to come up. And the youth, for you to come and tell me you lying to the young children of Dominica, Matt, nothing is happening. All what they promising playing field, they're promising roads, they're promising everything. Nothing is taking place in Dominica. Agriculture dead. Everything dead in Dominica, Matt. I think it's time for this government to pack up.
Caller, thank you. It's 9:36. We're going to take a break and then we'll come back right after this.
For all your shopping needs at the best prices in Dominica, shop at S-Mart. Shop smart at S-Mart.
Shop smart at S-Mart.
Give me some Lotto. All my favorite snacks.
Shop smart at S-Mart. I get a top-up flow and digital. Shop smart at S-Mart.
Sunday to Sunday.
Open on holidays. Shop smart at S-Mart. So much fresh fruit and produce.
Good quality service. Hey. Unlimited parking. Hey. All the best products at S-Mart. You get the best prices.
Hey. Shop smart at S-Mart for great prices and unlimited parking.
Entrance and exit on both Goodwin Road and Rawls Avenue. Open 7 days a week. Call 448-2340.
Shop smart at
Smart.
Get the fastest home internet on island from Digicel Play. With speeds 3 times faster than the competitor, plus over 60% savings. Pay only $89 monthly for 8 megabytes internet with Digicel Play. Sign up with a sales representative in your community or call 616-1600 or 616-1700. Experience the fastest home internet with Digicel Play. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
The newly installed Attorney General of the United States, Jeff Sessions, has removed the sitting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Preet Bharara. It is Bharara who has been prosecuting the $400 million Iran sanctions evasion case against gold and oil trader Reza Zarrab. Will a new prosecutor mean more indictments in this case? I make this point because the administration of President Donald Trump appears to be significantly more antagonistic to the regime in Iran than his predecessor, and you can expect the next U.S. attorney in Manhattan to share that position. While we do not know whether there are sealed indictments pending in the Zarrab case against absent or fugitive defendants in the Middle East or elsewhere, such as Babak Zanjani, now facing the death penalty, or Ali Reza Monfared, the Zanjani partner extradited to Iran, whose possession of a Dominican diplomatic passport ignited a firestorm of controversy over the legitimacy and possible corruption surrounding his acquisition of that document. There may now be additional prominent defendants named by Barara's successor who will want to demonstrate his resolve in prosecuting Iran sanctions violations. One possible co-conspirator who may have already been charged or who could now be added is the Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerrit, whose close relationship with Ali Reza Monfared, now facing prosecution in Iran on corruption charges, has rejected widespread calls for his resignation or removal from office. Questions to ponder about Prime Minister Skerrit. 1. Since Monfared's arrests and extradition, the Prime Minister has refrained from a travel into or through the United States, even through his wife and child, have apparently permanently relocated to his $2 million condominium in New York City. Does he fear a sealed indictment may be waiting for him in Miami at Customs and Border Protection? He may be staying out of America upon advice of his counsel that the risk of possible arrest and pretrial detention is too high to ignore for what would be solely a social visit. 2. Has Skerrit's U.S. visa been revoked? Pursuant to Presidential Proclamation 7750 of January 12, 2004, foreign officials involved in corruption will have their U.S. visa revoked and barred from entry. This happened with the then Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis during the disgraced citizenship by investment scandal, and who has never had his visa restored since, even after he left office. Whether Skerrit has also had his visa revoked cannot be determined, as U.S. privacy regulations do not allow that information to be publicly disclosed, but it may explain his strange failure to visit his family. 3. Is there any truth to the story rolling around Dominica last week that the Internal Revenue Service IRS served some sort of warrant upon Skerrit's wife at their secluded New York City luxury condominium? Remember, they own that unit through a Delaware corporation, which generally is an attempt to hide the identity of the beneficial owner. If there are money laundering issues arising out of the source of funds used for the purchase of that real estate, other possible charges could be filed. We await the naming of USA Barara's successor and wonder aloud whether that individual will widen the scope of the case and whether it will name additional defendants from the Caribbean, be they senior government officials, senior buy investment officers, or even local bankers or attorneys.
It's 9:44. Join us on the line as the opposition leader of the United Workers' Party, Mr. Lennox Linton. Of course, concerns mounting about millions being distributed in light of earlier statements that monies from the CBI was slowing down because the banks had some concerns. Mr. Lennox Linton, good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Very good. Good morning to the people of Concord and Marigot. Good morning to the people of Dominica at home and abroad. You have a concern, Matt, with monies from the CBI?
Of course, we've been told, and of course, announcements being made all around the island that CBI money continues to be, coming in. It appears. And, of course, early announcements that, they were being stalled at the local banks.
No, Matt, let's deal with the facts. The banks have, in fact, have issues with the sources of CBI money. Not just CBI money that is coming in to pay fees to the government, but also CBI money coming in to pay for due diligence reports. Let's be clear that the banks now want to know where, let me not say the banks, because the international banks have already distanced themselves from the government's citizenship by investment money because they don't trust the sources of those monies. Those monies could be tied up in some sort of international criminality, some sort of crime against humanity. We're talking drug trafficking, money laundering, we're talking human trafficking, financing of terrorism, whatever. Whatever the reasons that the International Banking Committee is concerned, they believe that handling the money coming into Dominica from the sale of passports is too risky for their compliance responsibility with money laundering control, fighting money laundering, and fighting the financing of terrorism principally. And so they have said to the government, we will not touch your money coming from the sale of passports. That's number one. Number two, the monies of the government coming from citizenship is going into the government's account at the National Bank. The National Bank cannot do business with the rest of the world, specifically the US dollar transactions with the rest of the world, without a correspondent bank in the United States. And that correspondent bank for the National Bank is the Bank of America. The Bank of America is insisting on increasingly stringent measures, increasingly demanding information. They're demanding more and more information before they clear monies from the sale of passport into the government's account at the National Bank. These are facts. This is truth. And it would be good for the government to come to explain what is happening. To be going around the country promising monies in order to suggest that the real difficulties government is having with economic citizenship revenues coming into the country do not exist. It's disingenuous, it's dishonest, and the people of Dominica deserve the truth. So, notwithstanding all of what is being promised, here are a few questions. There was an amount of $4.9 million to come from citizenship by investment, which was approved in last year's budget to correct the wave overtopping problem at Melville Hall. Where is that $4.9 million? Because we have come now, we have passed July, the first month of the financial year, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, this is March. We're into month number 9 of the financial year. A financial year in which $4.9 million was approved from citizenship by investment money to correct an 8-year-old problem, a 9-year-old problem at the Melville Hall area just east of the runway, with the water coming, the salt water coming to the road and damaging vehicles there. And not a stroke of work has been done, but $4.9 million was promised and approved by the Parliament from the Citizenship by Investment program. So you have important work to be done that is not being done, but you have things that were not catered for in the budget all of a sudden receiving attention because the government is on a political campaign to fool people and to buy influence. I have another question. What is happening with the $300,000 that was supposed to be spent on plans and designs for the Marigot Hospital, approved in the budget of 2016-2017? 9 months have passed. We are not aware that designs have been outsourced or contracted for the new Marigot Hospital. And you can go down the line in the provisions from the budget and just ask yourself, which of the important things to be done have been done? And if they have not been done, why are all these new things coming up where you see the government now, vai going around the country and talking about things that they will do? They're dropping $1 million here, $500,000 over there. They tell you they're going to do this there, do that there. All part of what seems to be a campaign now to fool people and to buy influence. But I ask the people of Dominica to remember as well that there was $146 million from citizenship by investment that was apparently came in 2015, 2016, which was not spent in 2015, 2016. And I made that observation in the budget debate of last year. So they came into this financial year with $146 million of CBI money from previous years that was not used last year. So they have money. They had money. They had money before the banks started tightening up. And before Royal Bank shut down their accounts, to return their money, they had money there. So we have to factor that into the campaign that they're on to right now. They may be spending off the money that was remaining from last year and trying to use that to hide the fact that the money inflow into Dominica from passport sales has slowed down significantly and is under threat because of the reckless behavior of the government, the failure of the government to do due diligence on passport applicants as it claims to have done, and all of the breaches of procedure that the government knows about, is aware of, and refuses to do anything about. Didn't you hear, Matt, some time ago? Didn't you know that 2 years ago, a senior operative of the Citizenship by Investment Unit was attempting to bring into his private account an amount equivalent to EC $1.5 million, and the bank stopped it?
I heard that.
You heard that the transaction was reported as a suspicious transaction to the Financial Intelligence Unit.
I also heard that, yes.
So where's the media we have in Dominica? Isn't the media interested in what happened with that particular transaction? Isn't the media interested in whether or not this gentleman at the Citizenship by Investment Unit was investigated? Isn't the media concerned as to why is he still holding his job when clearly on the face of it, we're looking at massive bubble and corruption with Citizenship by Investment money? How can a paid employee of the Citizenship by Investment Unit be bringing into a private account $1.5 million and still be holding his job? Where would he have gotten that money from? The monies used to pay for passport belong to the government of Dominica. But one individual is bringing in $1.5 million, an employee of the Citizenship by Investment Unit, into his private account, and he still works there. He is still large and in charge, and nothing has happened, meaning that the authorities, the finance minister, etc., they know very well what that $1.5 million was coming into Dominica for and who it was for. That is why we need an investigation. But the media doesn't ask questions. The media would...
But here's a senior media person, remaining anonymous, says, Matt, which media is going to investigate? Only Q95 and DNO that is not labor owned. That's what a media person is saying to me.
Because this business of speaking truth to power, this business of getting Dominicans to know the truth, cannot be left to a few people who are making all sorts of sacrifice, who are putting everything they have on the line for the interest of the Commonwealth of Dominica, and individuals and institutions that are receiving monies from the public to do honest work for the public. They're shying away from their responsibilities. Let me explain something to you, Matt. You see this impeachment of the South Korean president that happened recently? Have Dominicans asked themselves what is really going on there? Let me give you some perspective and to ask the question. Very simply, why did the South Korean president, Park Geun-hye, lose her job? The simple answer is because of her involvement in corruption scandals. Plain and simple. And just to summarize, the BBC has reported that at the heart of the drama lies the close friendship between the president and Mrs. Choi Soon-sil. Mrs. Choi is accused of using her presidential connections to pressure companies to give millions of dollars in donations to non-profit foundations she controlled. Ms. Park, the South Korean president, is alleged to have been personally involved in this and to have given Mrs. Choi unacceptable levels of access to official documents. The impeached president denied wrongdoing, she concealed the truth, and she cracked down on critics. Matt, how much concealment of truth have you been witness to where this government is concerned in the last 10 years? How much wrongdoing have they denied in the past 10 years? And aren't you now witnessing, Matt, before your very eyes, the crackdown on critics who are asking the government to come clean, who are asking the government to do what is right in the issuance of diplomatic passports, in the management of the Citizenship by Investment program, in the management of the economy, in the upholding of the name and image of Dominica in the international community? How many of these critics, right within our own camp, are being harassed, tormented, families traumatized, little children traumatized in the early morning hours, police coming to their home to ransack their premises and to take them into custody for nonsensical questioning over hours and then to release them without charge afterwards? That is what we talk about when we talk about cracking down on critics, because that's exactly what it is. And we have these three elements alive and well with us in Dominica, doing nothing about it, getting vexed when people say that the Prime Minister should go, but for less somewhere else in the world, a president is being impeached and is being taken out of office. Final quote from BBC. Parliament voted to impeach Ms. Park in December 2016. In March, that is last week, just gone there, the Constitutional Court ruled Ms. Park's actions, quote, seriously impaired the spirit of democracy and the rule of law. I want to repeat that. The Constitutional Court in South Korea ruled that the president's actions seriously impaired the spirit of democracy and the rule of law. Can you find a statement that more seriously impairs the spirit of democracy than this country is too free? Can you find a statement that seriously impairs the spirit of democracy more than the blood of Dominicans will be on the hands of those who vote the United Workers' Party? Can you find a statement that more seriously impairs the spirit of democracy and the rule of law than no law, no constitution, not even the Constitution, will prevent me from being nominated for elections, when the author of that statement knows fully well what the qualifying criteria for election to Parliament is as outlined in the Constitution? He knows he did not meet those criteria, and yet he said no law and no Constitution can prevent him. Can you find an example of impairment to the spirit of democracy and the rule of law in better than a sitting Prime Minister under investigation by the Integrity Commission for unaccounted property that can't be explained by his legal income, going to the Parliament, using his majority in the Parliament to change the law that is being interpreted in the court in a matter against him, to take out what he doesn't like in the law, put in what he wants, install a new Integrity Commission whose first order of business it was to set aside the investigation that the previous commission had ordered against him. You know what we're talking about here? Remember what we're talking about here? We're talking about serious impairment of the spirit of democracy and the rule of law, for which a South Korean president was impeached and dismissed from office. In Dominica, we are asking peacefully for the resignation of Roosevelt Skerrit on account of the massive corruption scandals that he's been involved in, his appalling mismanagement of the Dominican economy, where people are getting poorer and poorer while he and his colleagues are getting richer and richer. And people find it is something strange. What do they expect? The country must continue to go down and down and down while Roosevelt Skerrit rises higher and higher in his personal wealth and disgraces the country more and more every day by his associations with rogues and scoundrels and rascals around the world, that he gives privileges, arms them with the tools of our diplomacy to go out and carry out their nefarious corrupt criminal deeds in the world community. That is how we're supposed to exist. We have a moral obligation as the people of Dominica to stand up and demand and say enough is enough and demand the resignation of this man. It is not for him to decide who is going to lead this country. It is for us to decide. And we don't care whether a mandate was issued in 2014 and another one by settled practice is supposed to be issued again in 5 years' time. You have disgraced us too much, and the people must intervene right now to prevent further damage to the image and standing of Dominica in the world community.
Let me ask a question before we go to the news. Lennox Linton, a lot of calls during the past few days for more protests. Will we see that in the near future?
We've asked the people of Dominica, and we asked the people of Dominica to mark their calendars for the 30th of March. It's a Thursday. We are engaged with the police right now because on that day, the activity we want to mount on that day requires police permission for a certain segment of it. A certain element of that program will require police permission. We have requested the police permission. We are waiting the response of the police. But the date for the next major protest action in Dominica, the next major outing of Dominicans to show their disgust and to demand the resignation of Roosevelt Skerrit will be the 30th of March, 2017. But before the 30th of March, there's something that's happening in Oman. The public servants of this country are going to be rallying on Thursday afternoon. And as a servant of the public myself, servant of the public in the Parliament of Dominica, I will be at the Public Service Union rally. Just to be there and to support the public servants of this country. My parents, God bless their souls, were public servants. My sister was a public servant of long standing. I have a number of family members, friends, relatives who are upstanding, diligent, public servants of good conscience in this country. And it's important that the public servants, the teachers, the nurses, the police officers, all of those people working for the government, the state of Dominica, who are doing good work, to know that their people stand with them and their people stand for them in this righteous cause of them trying to secure a better means of livelihood from their employment in circumstances where the government continues to believe that all they deserve is 0 and 0 and 0. My understanding is that the rally is going to happen on the grounds of the Public Service Union on Thursday afternoon. And as a citizen of Dominica, someone serving in the Parliament as a public servant in the Parliament of Dominica, I will be there in solidarity with the public servants of Dominica. And I'm urging all Dominicans from all walks of life, wherever you are, to join your public servants and to show your solidarity and support for them in this struggle against a government that continues to abuse its privileges and continues to believe that the monies and the resources of Dominica is for one of the people that it chooses. And then on the 30th of March, we'll have our massive national event. We will provide more details about it as we finalize our matters with the police authority and we move on.
Thank you, Lennox Linton. Interesting developments. We'll come back with the news right after this.
Public and non-public officers, this is a call to join the DPSU at the Solidarity Rally on March 16. National issues of the day: agriculture, fisheries, unemployment, salary increase proposals. This is the call. Workers arise. Defend